Slindila, Susfigula, Talana Slindila, Susfigula. I don't want to how to trend us so. I don't want to how to trend us fella.
No matter how hard kunzima.
Bambazilla, Begazilla, Pumelela, Amantibatala Masbachela, Tomasala, Tangaguzalunga, Jenga, Matas, Lastas, Popile, Shy Pop. One day you gonna make it to the top. Maybe you should twerk to the top.
So, guys,
welcome to the Queer Way of Life with me, Bujy. Hey, it's been a minute and we are back. Last time we saw Cafe. So today we are here at David Mashabela Studios. If you want to come and broadcast from here and do your own podcast, simple podcast at mashabelastudios.co.za. That's simple. So you can just come through, have fun like we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. So guys, have you been too long? Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Not condemned.
Oh, condemned. Condemned.
Lovey, I've recovered.
You've recovered.
Yo, from a hectic week. I've recovered.
And then Amandalicious.
Thank you, man. I'm dark and lovely.
You're dark and lovely.
Please at the end.
Good to have you back.
You're too like, yo, good to have you. Well, good to see you guys. You know, it's been one of those. Yeah. So, last time when we had our podcast, right, I was literally brutally attacked on Twitter.
Oh, yeah?
Because they saying that I literally brought an abuser that is known within the queer community and gave them a platform for them to defend themselves in terms of the whole abuse situation. And one thing, when that happened, I called Katli. Just Amanda, just in case you're not aware. Okay. So Katli, when I called you at night, I called Katli Tuesday night. I said, Katli, this thing, I have a feeling that is going to get out of hand. Because already the ex-wife was messaging me and people started like attacking me on my DMs. And then I was just like, but...
Is this Tuesday before the shoot or Tuesday before airing?
No, this is Tuesday after the show.
After.
Yeah,
okay.
after we aired at 3. So my biggest thing is that it's shocking that gay guys will go out of their way. I'm talking a majority that were also quite mean towards the whole situation, not saying that maybe I needed their sympathy or which is I don't, honestly. One thing that really stuck out for me, the whole thing that happened on Twitter, was that everybody thinks that I know where Banzi comes from.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks that I know that Banzi was married before. Everybody thinks that I was part of the marriage, maybe being Sharon Pete, or while the drama was happening, I literally had a full knowledge of what was happening in that relationship, and which is I didn't. I called Banzi personally because I know her through her work. When you Google Banzi, you'll find everything music about her and her artwork from Cape Town. Nothing says, okay, Banziki, abused the wife, did this. There's nothing like that.
There's no article.
There's no article. And we had a good conversation. And I was just like, come, let's talk about this, and you're the one that picked it up. Because, let me show you.
There's a discrepancy.
Let me tell you guys, one thing that you don't know. Gays and lesbians don't share the same space.
Yeah.
And we spoke about that, and it's always been like that for the longest time. So the couple that is popular, especially because they're not like a TV celebrity couple that Times Live will write about them.
Yeah.
So it's literally, I wouldn't know what happens in that marriage. So when I meet someone, I don't meet an abuser. So for someone to make a conclusion and say, Bujy gave her an abuser platform, pull down the podcast. Oh, hell no, I'm not going to do that. Because because it was a conversation. And a part of me is still glad that happened. Because I wasn't aware there's so much abuse that happens amongst gay relationships, among lesbian relationships, like in the queer community. I wasn't aware, Guti, people are really getting abused out there. And it was a good highlight for me, and it kept the conversation flowing.
I think, Bujy, in South Africa, especially the queer community in our country, we need to understand that we're one of the fortunate countries to actually be legalized on paper. Therefore, for us to have such platforms to openly speak about social ills and things like that, it's a good thing. It means the conversation have started, and we can take this and either go north or south with it. We can take these things and guide ourselves with them, because and it means that so that we become better at what we are doing. You know, we shouldn't forget that we are mandated to actually open a conversation, and it's a good thing that you are pioneering this thing. It's a good thing that you are leading this, and it's not going to be easy, but it's important for us to talk.
Somebody said, who chose him to speak on our
To
behalf?
speak on our behalf. Who said he must be the brand ambassador?
Ambassador of the queer community.
Yeah.
Okay. My response when I saw that, because I just logged off Twitter, I was just like, oh, whatever, let them have a party. My biggest response was that I don't need permission from anyone to interview anyone. You can interview a gay Togoloshi, guys. If I want to talk to the Togoloshi, I will talk to the Togoloshi. Like, if I want to understand how does a Togoloshi function, I mean, the biggest interviewers in the world, they've dealt with rapists, they've dealt with Nazis, they've dealt with people who've done the worst things, and they've literally said that if I knew where Banzi was coming from, I would have had a different conversation.
Yeah.
And which is, I still believe that one day it needs to be had. To say, where's the progress? How is she healing? And also with the wife, also empathizing with her, what she went through, and also learning that certain things, when you've been hurt a lot by someone, the power that I've learned by being hurt by people is that I don't go back and fetch the pain again.
Yeah.
Never go back and fetch the pain again. For me, it's one thing. If you hurt me and then you do something, because I've seen an ex on TV doing something.
Yeah.
I've had an ex say things. But let me tell you, I will pretend as if I don't even know it, because I will not fetch that pain again.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to heal.
We do. And also for me, it really bothered me because we spoke about it. It bothered me when it got to a point where I was getting phone calls. And I think I spoke to you, both of you, where I got a phone call and somebody said to me, "Hi, is this Katli?" So I responded, and unfortunately, I was driving, so he got me at a very bad time. So he says, "Is this Katli?" "Yes, it is. I just want to find out, how do you conduct your research on the podcast?" I felt very offended, because why would you think we'd bring someone onto the podcast without doing research? If you don't know anybody, or if somebody's got maybe accolades attached to them, the first place you go to when you do your research is you go to Google. Even if you type out whoever's name, they will tell you they're either on Facebook, on Twitter, or wherever their platform they are on.
Yes.
Now, if you put in somebody's name, for example, in this instance, we're talking about Banzi. You put in Banzi's name onto Google. It does not filter any article, as I said earlier. Any article on abuse. It doesn't filter any article where she's been labeled as an outed abuser, because if we had seen that, we would have not given her the opportunity to go on and on, because I don't want to lie. She was running.
She was
with
running.
it.
No, there was a moment when she was speaking, right? I was just like, what exactly are we talking about now? Because I'm confused and I don't know that history. Do you understand? Because if you know that history, like, when did it start for you? You're able to ask the right questions. And we had to literally down it with jokes, because we're just like, now it's getting too heavy.
It was too heavy.
Mamela Bujy, into engicabanga ukuthi kumele sikhulume ngayo la, it's the fact that we should emphasize that you and the podcast and everybody else is sympathetic to everybody that is going through abuse, and I'm glad that you said it with your own mouth. We are very sympathetic, and on top of being sympathetic, I think it is time for us to understand that we should be able to pave a way through dialogue, and good stories are running out of space. because the bad stories have taken over. You know, the abusers and the homophobes have become the whole book of the LGBTI and the queer community, and there's little that is said about the good things that has been happening. The only time queer community unite is when we are calling out a homophobe or an abuser, and I feel like we've got more potential than that, because dingata ntho tse re ka buang ka tsone tse ke nana hore di a kgatlisa ka community ya rona.
I also feel like hurt people hurt other people. When you can't give what you don't have. When you start swearing at people on Twitter, I mean, you know, with your show, like when people just come for you, someone is so mean, you're just like, when you don't even know me, like, why would you go out of your way to do that? And others want followers, others. And if you're making a joke that is fun, I'm one person, I know how to laugh at myself. You know, even the other part, hey, crop top. So I like, that is funny, like, because it's humor. But when you start being mean, it becomes something else.
Yeah.
And we just come, like, because also you said something on your show, and you said you are tired of rejection at some point.
I am.
Why, friend?
Actually, you get to be rejected so many times at being a transgender woman. You get to have a man that comes to you thinking that you're a girl, and they reject you instantly after you come out to them. That's rejection on its own.
That's rejection on its own.
Yeah, I'm sick and tired of going places seeking for a job, and then when they see.
Yeah,
when they see the papers, because I actually change an idea. When they see that and then it contradicts what you are, what they're looking at, that's when you get to lose the job. That's rejection on its own.
That's rejection on its own.
So I'm sick and tired of things like those. I just want to wake up and, you know, put my feet down. And no matter how loud you get to be about this, rejection is there's always going to be rejection somewhere in the corners of
But isn't it more painful when it's done within the queer community? Like, how can I win? And then hey, kana khwetsagalang.
Because I think like ha re community le ngotlamile ga understanding. But then one thing I picked up on is that but motomo like ka LGBTI o mong o tlo ba prejudicial towards wena because o khalla wena o tla be ele gay o tla ba mpona ke kena ka di hili ke rokhile ke le condemn o tla ba santsa ba tla ba condemn o tla ba santsa ba tla ba self. So ke bone into like if you're going to be a hater, there's a cry for help. You obviously, you're crying out for help, which is practically why I always ignore my haters. You get to come across a person on social media saying nasty about you. I ignore them because sometimes they, I keep feeling like, but LGBT, especially the gay group of work at the gay. Gay, it like most full of gay. So about extremely. So after LGBT, like just because religion LGBT like doesn't mean like understand LGBT and letter and I understand how you understand the full. So that's why LGBT ojaja one ojaja wena ona o tlo jaja one and akala go community one kaofela and it's only natural because if people could be adequately educated about the LGBTI, even the LGBTIs themselves should know di letter or na letter engwe subsumer letter engwe jwalo. I think there would be less prejudice.
And we should understand that some people have assumed the role of supremacy just because they were visually accepted by the straight community than the others. We need to understand that we are a community. Therefore, if others are left behind, then the whole thing is useless. Then it means we are not fighting for a good cause. Because it is sad to understand, it is sad to see that our bisexual people and our transgender people and our intersex people are not included in our story. At the end of the day, this is a united story of the marginalized. We are marginalized.
And then I get to be ridiculed. What's that just the other day? Ne? Hona bikin nana. Hona le lesbian engwe samfani kana on social media. O ke ngwana na le moshimane ba go betsi bana le direction ba le babedi. A ke tholang ha ile monneng wa hae. Imagine. I'm like, hey, Wena, did you know how dirty I am? Nka o roka beke kaofela wa nyoa. Nka o thonga ho nyoe ka tseleng.
You know what? No, like I love what you're saying. Ukuthi, when people come for you, they don't understand. Ukuthi, you can be mean.
You can.
Like you can.
I'm this person that's so good with comebacks. You will never believe that I said that. So ke mo khalemela ke how le lesbian ke le transgender ke tlamile re supportana wena o ntshisa ka batho ne ke se we ke batho ba street ke re comment ke re just meet ke tla o fluka all week.
And wabona king, then it means we have taken the weapons of the homophobes out of our backs and we are now casting them onto one of us. Just because right now they're not coming for you, it doesn't mean they will not come back for you. When now you are visually accepted, and I'm saying visual because don't you dare think we've gotten our freedom. We're still far
from it. It's a journey.
It's a journey.
And you get to be comfortable in your own skin knowing that there's always going to be a person that's going to say ill about you.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that person that's going to hate on you. Focus on yourself. Do you?
Don't you find it exhausting at times?
It is very exhausting. I mean, the LGBT mehla na ho dula o hlaiswa TV boka ha ona story se se nang jeno tjena na. Batho ba qatella ba tseba mo ma ho ntso ka ba lo wa slow lane. A tlo fitla nga o give what ka mo.
I come nandi man Bujy. I come nandi.
No, it's not nice, guys.
It doesn't go down nicely because you are supposed to be not supposedly you are not supposed to be, but the default setting it should be that you are protecting one of your own. The default setting should be that we are sitting down with our bisexual people, intersex people, and our trans people to say, guys, how are you struggling? So that they can tell us that they are struggling with legalizing and actually putting policies behind the things that are working out for them, like the Home Affairs issue. There's a backlog.
I was about to get to the Home Affairs because it was part of the whole meeting, and when I could hear that trans men, trans women, the way they get so much, like the way they get mistreated, like ababa party at all. Wabon, mabe figure like no se flight inuti akibela, but aksuelo. And I remember it also happened with the late e-commerce. We were going to the Metro Fame Awards, so now. They opened his ID, her ID, and then they're like, so you're not supposed to. And then now I'm still like, please, we don't have time for this nonsense. You can see what's happening.
That's why
so like with the whole trend, because I always thought that, being gay, as it's easy for you to just be gay and be trans woman, and being trans woman, it's an easy journey, and it seems like it's more complicated than what I thought. Because it's with us and okay, I'm attracted to men, look in your makeup, and then for you it's a whole physical part and emotional part. How was that for you?
It was very challenging. It was a very long journey because I started, looking masculine. I used to look masculine. It took blood, sweat, and tears to get here.
Yeah.
So I'm not even really sure where you want me to start because there's so many places I could start from.
Let me say right now, today, where are you?
I'm approaching the finish line.
The finish line.
Congratulations.
Right.
This girl.
But isn't the medical part of it? How do you guys have access?
Yeah, Otamilo, you have to get a doctor. I'm not even really sure if you have to get a GP, but now I will tell you about my journey.
Yeah.
I got to have a psychologist.
Okay.
You go to a psychologist. I think the main aim is to assess you if you are going through gender dysphoria, or maybe like you are still uncomfortable in being yourself. They're trying to assess the rest of all that. Because I was gay at first. Like, I've always been a woman, but then I looked gay, so I wanted to look feminine. They assess you trying to establish if you really want this, and then they get to prescribe you the hormones.
Isn't that a bit the trauma?
It's
the
very
body
tiring,
trauma.
and they get to ask you the same questions over and over again, but with a different manner. And then you get to be tired really of answering the same questions, Yeah, and then it went for about 2 weeks, and then I got to be prescribed to the hormones.
And
And then how to expect an instant change? Obviously, these things don't happen overnight. Obviously, the hormone, you have to take them 6 months, a year down the line. That's when you get to see the results.
Oh.
Does it affect your health in any way?
I think no. Initially, the side effects. It comes with side effects.
Okay.
But then it affects your health, yes, because you get to develop things like gallstones. You get to have high blood pressure. You get to have the rest of all these illnesses that come with them, and you get to be moody. You get to have heart palpitations sometimes from the hormones.
And now finding love at this moment.
That has never been a challenge for me.
Can I drink to that?
With me and you talking about love, I got to be rejected. Like I've had my fair cut of rejection.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say I was never rejected. I was rejected so many times, but then the strong person that I am, I believe that if you were rejected, that's a fall right there. You stand up, dust yourself off, and continue with your journey. Yeah, but I still get people that love me for me. It's very easy for me to get a person that loves me for me. I can go from a man to the other, but I'm not a whore.
Okay, what do we call it? We call him poly. Poly. No, come from Holy.
How poly now? You're not a bee, not from one flower to the next.
So please. What?
So Bujy, also kinana hore that's why I will fault our NGOs and our NPOs so much, because when it's time for us to sit down and have conversations like this, these people are on high horses, It's time for them to come down so that's what are you mandated? What are you,
people are we talking about?
I'm talking about the non-profitable organizations in terms of taking the complaints of our bisexual people, our trans people, and our
Can you please hold on there?
Yeah. I've got so much to ask.
Like also when you talk of bisexual, I had an altercation with a guy who was bi, and one thing that threw me off, and it was one of those because like you said, we don't understand each other within the alphabet. Was it there's a girlfriend and then there's you and then there'll be another boyfriend. I'm just like, wait. I feel like there's too much of a train. Like there's so much that's happening all at once, So, which is like being bisexual. Do you love one person at a time, or you can love both? And is it because polyandry or bi, they're all linked all together?
Polyandry kopana ka ile ba ha re kopare clear in the air. Polyandry ke mosadi a ratana le banna ba more than one.
I'm not. It's okay to say you are not well advanced in that, to speak on it, because I don't think any of us have that knowledge. Like the bisexual people, this is a valid question, but there's no. If there's any one of us that is saying they're bisexual, then they should be speaking on it.
I've been with a bisexual man.
Yeah, and
now who was with me and a woman. You too. Who was with me and a woman at the same time.
Okay, and now you are speaking from experience, not from what you are.
Yeah.
And how was that?
Frustrating.
Oh, okay.
Man. Because so is it my time this week, or is it the time ya sontona? And if you're not home, because we used to live together.
Okay.
So if you're not home by this time, so okukai okosonto. Or, and if you get home and we're not having sex, I would have thoughts of maybe utorubala lesonto, So it really doesn't sit well with me personally.
So you got into a relationship with a person that's already in a relationship?
No, when we went into the relationship, he was. And then supposedly, he says, he left the person. Then it was just me and him in the picture. But shenanigans kept on coming up and cropping up all the time, because you do see these things. I mean, we live in the same house, so you see texts, you see this and that, you hear stories.
That is so exhausting.
And you end up asking yourself, but what is it that this guy really wants? It's either you with me or you go and sit with another person.
But is that not a question of a choice then? Who is on the other side?
Why what about political? I feel like you are trying by all means. Let me tell you why we don't learn to really heal and talk about these conversations openly because we always want to find a way to make them sound sensitive, caring.
but-
You see, right now, that man is supposed to.
Yeah.
No.
No.
No,
That's how it
because
is.
It's like when I remember, like it's like coming out of the closet when stating your story, or like being a woman. Because I'm trying to get rid of saying trans woman, trans man, because you are fully functionally a woman.
But being rough with it, it's not going to help us because we've wasted so much time in trending for these reasons than to actually go into the core of having this conversation.
But how do we go
but
into
I'm
the
not-
core? Because when we address the
Remember,
core, then we get attacked.
Hence, I'm saying if there was a bisexual person or a bisexual identified person sitting here,
I am
this
one person. I'm
conversation
quite provocative.
could have been
I'm quite
nicer
provocative.
and
I would
better.
like, and another thing, the reason we have this podcast because it's not because I'm saying people cannot come here. Only a selected few. If you wanna come, if you wanna voice out, listen, you're more than welcome to come through. Because this is the conversations that I strongly feel, and the reason why I'm doing a podcast because I don't want to be watered down. That has been happening for the longest time in my career, and it won't happen with this podcast. And I refuse to cower. Even that's why Labang Rogako Twitter, that is batting Nambile. I'm just like, no.
Oh, you are not having
No, even if I am, Kutrofa account to donate, my love. There's nothing wrong with donating. When you see someone struggling, get what donate, baby. Come on, donate. So this my biggest thing is that with each and every platform, people want to control it to how they want it suitable for them. And I've got a biggest thing, like for me, I retaliate.
I think it is good for us to understand that all of us will be, at the end of the day, you are going to sit down and look what you have achieved. You are the one that knows why you started this podcast. And when you look down on the things that you wanted to achieve, if you have achieved them for the community, then congratulations. But some of us are going to embark on this journey with you gracefully so. And if this is the tone that I'm using to actually engage with you, then you need to embrace
I love
me.
you, actually.
Shobi, Ari, shut up. Ari, embark on the journey
Embark
with
on the
you.
journey with you.
Then
No, I love
Look,
it.
gracefully
guys, I
do
really
it.
want to go back to the question to
Because
Tola.
feeling ignored.
Correct. Yes, yes.
Please.
Can I
We're
ask
always
you?
like
Can I
this.
ask you
That's the nature of the
something?
podcast.
No? You said.
Di bua ka ntho tse ka takana ko le nngwe.
Yo,
Hey,
all the
Nana,
time.
go,
Baby,
Nana.
remove
Ke-
freaky,
ke show.
remove-
Ke ba
ke show.
Ke ba fe? I don't know about say when I serve yourself. Just that.
Ke rata parfait.
Perfect.
Ke rata parfait.
Yeah.
Tsala,
So,
kopa o ngiwe
wena-
that one.
Okay, e re ko botse ka the bisexual. You've been with a bisexual guy before, I get. So because now you're a trans woman, I get. Does it make you somehow feel gore you are now going to be in competition with who you were born as, which is male, and now you're with a
That
guy?
is why I walk away.
Do you walk away?
I walk away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gracefully so. Does it
with
not
me.
bother you?
It bothers me, but obviously bother you. You're a woman. You're here with a man, and then ultimately, like I'm not judging them because we're part of the same family.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
fall under the same umbrella. But I feel like you should be decisive. If you want me, it has to be me, and not the next person.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes
that
sense.
is why I walk away. Like I want you to have time to yourself to think of who you want. It's more on who you want. You are either with me or with the gay guy that you are seeing. Like seriously, like I'm grateful about it.
That's it.
Hence, I was saying that I would fault our NPOs and NGOs in terms of having to start the journey on other departments such as the literature and the language, because we don't have a direct translation of what an intersex woman is, kasi Sotho, kasi Xhosa, you know. That's where other people are supposed to be concentrated as on how do we filter these words down so that go home affairs, it's not a problem for you to actually explain to the official what you are going through, because for as long as these things are not put into our native language, it's going to be difficult, because language is a form of communication. We need to start writing, we need to start documenting, we need to start filtering and understanding what does it mean. Kasi Sotho ha motho a re, I'm intersex.
Maybe I'm ignorant. Someone please help me to understand. These NPOs and NGOs, so the LGBTQI, these foundations, what role do they play? because at some point you sit there alone in your house and you see all these killings and you read about this on the newspaper and you watch this on the TV, you hear about this on the radio, and you ask yourself, but where are these foundations that they've been creating? What is their role within the community? What impact are they having? Because if we ourselves can actually, fight amongst ourselves without them having to create awareness. Guys, we here. We need to learn to start supporting one another or loving one another. Let's dissect this, guys. What's the role of these NPOs and NGOs?
I think Amanda can because
I found a document on the Department of Justice and Constitutional Development that was written maybe in 2014, and when I went through this document, it was an LGBTI document. Most of the goals that our department has when it comes to advancing the constitution of the LGBTI was workshop, and that's why I'm saying this.
I love those workshops. I see a lot of attractive people.
I love them too.
Bujy, please.
I love them too, but sometimes I feel like we have done workshopping so much that when it's time for people to submit the money, to submit for money, to claim, hey, I went to Cape Town, I went to Bloemfontein, welcome to you're in a grade 1 class, live to 11. And you said that is a workshop, but the real conversation should be: did you bring a gay mother to come sit here? What are the terms of the dialogue that is being had in these workshops? Also, your job should not be only at the workshop level. Hence, I am saying, where are the people that are following up? Where's the Minister of Health to come sit us down to say, why is there only 2 doctors doing these procedures? Why is there only 2 hospitals? And why is there so much waiting list to a maximum of 21 years for your sex to be changed in South Africa? Guys, how many years?
Long.
It can take long.
But
How many years?
25-year waiting period.
How many years have we? We are fortunate in South Africa to, and I'm saying, visually accepted and only on paper, because we don't need a constitution to tell us who we are. But when it was done, the journey of talking advance and proceeding and progress, it has not started. We need to now talk things that are going to advance us as the community. Economical, I spoke about that. I said we are excluded economical, and I'm still going to touch on that. I'm going to tell you guys why I'm saying we are excluded. I'm going to explain to you in detail why I'm saying, as the LGBTI community, you are excluded.
Always we've been.
And there's money that is going out. Some kukumto khongwezela imali or I'm helping the LGBTI community. Why are you guys not getting off
Do you know any of them? Have you ever heard of them?
I'm coming. I'm coming.
Because I would really like to know, because
Constitutional Hills.
And again, it's because you guys don't want to come down and speak to us that you are putting so much. And during the lockdown, my friends and I actually combined hands of the LGBTI community, our DJs, our artists. It was us popping out money to make sure there's food parcels to these families. It's not nice. Or I've got an interview. It's not nice. It hurts me. Because sometimes when I cannot do it for you, it hurts me. Where is the NGO that asked for 10 million? Why can't you explain? Allegedly, allegedly, you asked for this much. How did you divide it? Was it provincially? Was it nationally? And did you achieve your goal? And what results are you bringing for the community? Because that document that I'm telling you about, it has expired 2 years ago, and all it had was just a workshop.
Oh my.
Powerful.
Hey. Moment of silence.
I'm just like, woo. But I love where you come from, because usually with me, I'm very nonchalant when it comes to these things. And I'm being honest, because most of the time I've learned to literally step away from these organizations, because sometimes there's certain things that really hurt me personally, that I just feel like, let me just not be, because sometimes you see cliques happening within organizations, that are actually supposed to be helping people. You see, there's a lot of things that happen that are personal, decisions that get made, that are personal decisions made within organizations, and sometimes you're just like,
Bujy, they registered these organizations without us, and some of them named them after their names, and by virtue it means that we shouldn't be asking them questions on
Nami nyovuleham, guys. Nami nyovuleham organization.
we shouldn't now derive from the fact that you are using LGBTI data. This is our data that you are using. You are using our stories to self-enrich. You are making us angry. You are pissing us off. And once we come for you, it's not going to be nice because ha really thabi, ra le hlompha, ha re le rapele. Etsang mosebetsi o tlamehile o etsa ka tšhelete e le kopileng ho mmuso on behalf of our community.
And I think, you know what you just said, Viva, Amanda, Viva.
Oh, Nana.
You are hitting a nerve that...
He's hitting the nail. On top.
On top. It's. I think I'm also guilty to contributing to some of these events as well, because you know sometimes they get so privatized to only limited elite. You know,
yeah.
if you are bougie, you here in, and then if we are fitla, when mandla wako kaika, you don't have access, and now also we use it as ammunition against us to say, so listen, my love, this is what's gonna happen. I'm going to Europe with this organization, and then all of a sudden you're just like, so how did we even get there? Do you understand? And I think there's a lot of healing that needs to happen as well. I think besides, because we can all be angry. I'm angry too. I'm angry for my own personal reasons, you know, and I strongly believe that it's time whereby we really need to find the process of healing, because I think also coming for them can be quite messy.
Let it be messy then.
Now that you've spoken about anger, I started to realize how much anger I have. Country, for the fact that me as a transgender woman, I can't go and get a sex change because there's this waiting period that they tell you about. It's only now that I get to realize how serious that is.
Even when it's private, like private hospitals.
Private hospitals everywhere. You get to be told about that waiting period.
Is it fair?
It is not fair.
It's not
for
fair.
you to get a sex change like you desire, you have to Singapore, Thailand, South Africa, and transgender. I'm speaking on behalf of that transgender woman. That transgender woman as afford. Like with me being
on top of that,
obviously.
hangwana batho akhola 6,000 and more. They are being charged private rates. Is it fair? Where are the subsidies of the government? Where are the NGOs that are communicating, taking our information to speak to the departments, bringing the information back so that we write our own policies and we advance towards progress? How are we progressing if we are focusing on the cosmetics, which are just pride? And those are the cosmetics, guys. Those are nothing. We should be far. You know that you and I, or my girlfriend and I, cannot go to 45 countries in Africa. Why?
Babe, when it comes to African countries, like I also took like a full study to understand that these countries are so invested into shutting down everything LGBTQI than fixing poverty that we are facing as a continent. And then it shows how lame we think, if I have to use that word, like a stabang, really, like you're focusing on there are kids that are dying. I mean,
there's an LGBTI in every community as well.
Of course.
Nigeria, Africa, LGBTI, why are we being overlooked?
Now, if rona re kgone fumana tokolo ya rona, for lack of a better word, as queer people of South Africa, and we are struggling and we are looking at, we have given the homophobes a big chapter in our story. Like the whole book is about abusers and homophobes. And we are well within our rights to address those issues and to hold them accountable, but we have not started documenting our good stories.
Can I tell you also when it comes to homophobes and comes to all these things, like especially the homophobes part, I think besides being homophobic, like, you know, like abafana basekhoneni, like our theater, they'll do remarks. I've never been hurt the way I've been hurt by my own queer community. I've been ridiculed so many times, and then I'm just like, I find myself being far more comfortable with heterosexual people than I am with the gay community because it's just too much.
Let's address that. We need more love within ourselves. How are you talking about queer love when in your daily life you're not practicing it? When you still want to reject diversity, when you still want to question individual diversity. O kena kae hore motho a tjena hore ha re o bisexual o robala le mang le mang ha ona mo re kenang
Anke wa tseba ke bo stupid back and that pushing things.
Yeah.
Also, this thing of us as gay people or queer people, I don't know how you want us to be addressed, but this thing of classism as gay people and lesbians, why re tlasana? Because I think the issue starts from there. Gore ra tlasana gore mang o na le eng, mang hana eng, mang o bua sekgoa yang, mang a kgone o bua sekgoa yang, mang o bereka kae, mang ha bereke kae, mang o driver eng, mang ha drive eng, mang o dula ko north, mang o dula ko west. And why should there always be competition amongst ourselves as to who's doing better? And I'm talking about negative competition. It's never positive competition where it builds one another. I've never come across somebody who, whether Rico Shakas or Rico Melville, speaking positively about another gay person. Doesn't go. Imagine. So what? That's what he can afford, and that's what he feels comfortable
That
in.
happens with straight people as well.
I think it happens everywhere.
Yeah. It's only natural that a person gets to judge you, no matter if they're LGBTI or not. Like, but
Ke ka hoo ke nahanang hore we have given the people, the poets and the writers so much power that this LGBTI has become something very scary for us that are not so big on big words, you know, because all they have done is to distort the story, and all they have done is to pick on small things than the bigger picture. Into abayaziyo khuluma isilungu amanga namasimba.
Yeah.
And I think for us, the reason why I'm saying this is because we put it on social media platforms.
Yeah,
We attack one another
but also
there.
social media is quite toxic,
It
and
is.
and we still have a lot to learn with that. So this is it, ladies and gentlemen, right here from David Mashavela Studios, the queer way of life. We are out. Remember, if you want to come through and also do your podcast, it's very simple. Send your email to podcast@mashavela.co.za and do your thing. And I am out. Mwah. Ta-da.